Hello, everybody. Happy Canada Day. Happy NHL Free Agency Day.
Craig's got to move his mic.
Craig is Darth Vader
got to move
over
his
here.
mic. There we
my
go.
Goodness. All right.
Sound like Bigfoot hunting and or feral people hunting.
Oh God, here we go. Happy NHL Free
Canada
Agency Day. Yes, we have, we thought it would be a relaxing weekend after the NHL draft, but no, free agency is here and the Coyotes made so many moves. We said we have to go live. So welcome to this special edition of the PHNX Coyotes Podcast. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Leah here with Petey and Craig. How you guys doing on this fine Saturday?
Been a long day.
Yeah, not for me. I napped twice.
Petey was asleep when Nick Bjugstad signed.
Yep, I got a couple of nice naps. Craig's like, you hear anything? Well, kind of hard when I'm sleeping. So no, I didn't hear anything, and all of a sudden, a lot was going on. By the way, this 2 days after the draft, Craig, on your list of stuff to Gary Bettman, this doesn't work.
Amen. Right? 1 day window. Forget about it.
No,
it's ridiculous.
No.
Hey, does Bjugstad have any specific punctuation in the spelling?
I wouldn't have got that wrong, but it would not have gotten that. Do you know he's from Minnesota? Somebody said.
The other reason we needed to go live today is because people don't know what's going on. Twitter is a steaming pile of garbage.
What the hell is
much
that
like
today?
the dump in Tempe. Twitter
is it working on the computer? Can I just ask?
It's a rate limit thing. So if you've
but I don't watch anything
tweets today, then you're
but
done.
I don't do anything.
Doesn't matter.
Is that just for like today, tomorrow, or
I guess we don't know. He said temporary, whatever the hell that means. And what does read mean? If I scroll past the tweet, does that mean I read it?
Yes.
So 600. Like I can do that in 5 minutes.
I did do that in 5 minutes. I was up before I knew what was going on. Because it's responses too. It's so my Twitter's a mess. So anyway.
But it's for data mining. We're worried about data mining.
No,
he wants everybody to pay for Twitter Blue. That's what this is about. Nothing else.
Can we start like Leah? I don't know what we're gonna name it. Leah, can you start one of your own?
I don't know how to code, but I'll try.
Let's start talking hockey.
Let's talk hockey. Let's talk about the 5 signings the Coyotes have made today. 3 of the 5 signings are guys who have played on this team before and are coming back. It's the return of the Yote. And let's start with the most impactful one for us, given the ties to one Steve Peters. It's Nick Bjugstad. He's back.
Go ahead, Petey.
Well, it's interesting, and I love this on so many levels. And first of all, he's from Minnesota, but when he left at the end of the year, and Edmonton didn't re-sign him, I thought if Edmonton makes a big playoff run and he's a big part of it, I thought they might have re-signed him. That didn't happen. So at that point, you start wondering, gosh, maybe he fits here, he likes it here, all of the things that they need here. The guy in the locker room, the guy that can still produce here, the guy that fits into that number 2 center spot here, especially if Logan Cooley's not coming. It checks all of the boxes this team needs right now. And furthermore, they get him at a reasonable price for 2 years. And guess what? You can trade him again. I don't like that advice, by the way, Bill. It'd be great if you kept him and extended him. But there's a lot of things to this deal I like. I think this really helps this team move forward, especially down the middle, a big guy that can still skate.
They gave him a 2-year term, which was important to Nick Bjugstad. Let's be honest. It's important to any guy to have that sort of security. So it makes it a little difficult. He's not going to be a pure rental at the deadline. If somebody's looking to go pick him up, I'm not sure it happens this year. But the cap goes up next season significantly. So maybe a team's thinking, we can get him for a playoff run and keep a good influence around like that for another year. Maybe that's attractive. I don't know. We'll see. But really cool to have Nick Bjugstad back. In fact, Petey, I don't know if you heard the first question I asked him on the news conference today.
Heard about it.
Okay. It was basic. It was we did tweet that.
Playing it?
No, we're not playing it, but you can go.
I think we should have it.
If you're not blocked from Twitter, you can go to that.
I couldn't say it, but could I have that as my ringer?
100%.
I think I might change that as my ringer. Maybe.
You probably should.
I like a button instead of the one button.
I think we need to reprise the Minnesota show a second time. And
there's absolutely no doubt. It's coming early as soon as
I told his agent. Ben Hankinson, when he comes down, another Minnesota guy. When he comes down, we got to do it again. So we'll see.
1,000%. It is a good move hockey wise too. And as we continue on, I'll say how well this shapes this team up for the upcoming season. And if there was any doubt what direction this team was going for this season, I think Bill Armstrong cleared that up for us today. This is not last year's Coyotes. And when I spoke 2 weeks ago saying that they are going to take a step backwards and this team expect them to lose and be bad, I'm gonna have to think about this more, because I think the steps they took today make this team, at least right now today, this team is better than they were on this day a year ago.
And are they done? I don't think they're done. I know they're in on a couple of the big names, as well as filling out the AHL roster. So we'll see. I mean, there's no guarantee they're going to land the other fish they're chasing, but one of those fish in particular could be very interesting.
Yeah, and Craig, having said that, just to give you two a heads up, if there is another, buddy, this is the only Emergipod today. So if there's another big name coming, you're on your own. Just throwing that out there. Okay.
But we'll let you know in the Discord. The Discord's been a lifesaver today. It's been the new Twitter. So if you're not in the Discord, let me know and I'll make sure you get in there. You got to be a diehard though. What I think was really interesting about the Bjugstad signing and the Zucker signing, which we'll get to here in a second. Those are the only two guys we've been able to talk to so far. So we only know this much, but was the reason why Arizona was an attractive destination for these guys. Obviously, Nick Bjugstad, we knew he liked it here in Arizona when he was here last season. He made that pretty clear. But right off the bat in the interview today, Craig asked him what the reason was that he decided to sign with Arizona. And this is what Nick Bjugstad had to say.
There's a lot that went into the decision. Just trying to really weigh the pros and cons of where the team is headed, and I think they're headed in the right direction, especially under Andre. He's a great coach, and I enjoyed playing for him, so that was a huge reason for me. Coming to the rink every day, learning, getting better as an individual and as a team. So I definitely want to keep expanding my game and keep growing it. Obviously, I'm a little older now, but I still feel like under Bear's coaching and his style, I can continue to get better and get better with the team. So that was probably my biggest reason. And obviously Arizona's a good spot to live, but I think the number one choice was I think this team's headed in the right direction. And I had good conversation with Billy Armstrong, and sounds like we're gonna take the next step. So I'd like to be a part of that and contribute in whatever way I can.
Really interesting talking about the direction of the team and talking about the team taking the next step. And I think, Petey, that just goes back to what you said about kind of reevaluating the direction that this team's going. We were saying, they're going to take a step back, they're going to be worse. But based on what they've done today and based on what Nick Bjugstad just expressed, it seems like there will be progress being made next season.
Yeah, one of the things I just want to say something to a comment that was made up a little higher, Heisman 13. This is not last year's Coyotes, which was my quote, and then they re-signed 3 previous Coyotes. So I get the sentiment, but McBain's a year older, Michelli's a year older, Gunther's got more experience under his belt. I think you're looking at Ingram playing a full complete season in the National Hockey League, Mosier, Velimaki, complete seasons in the National Hockey League with more experience. And that's why I think this team is better. I know a lot of the names are the same, but you're seeing guys in increased roles with increased ice time that now have that experience. And that's why I think even though the names may be the same, the situation has changed.
Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, the maturation of a lot of guys.
Yeah,
and like I said before, I don't think we're done yet. At least they're not trying to be done yet, which is pretty amazing, actually. Pretty surprising. Like when they brought Troy Stecher, and I was like, are they going to make any big moves today? I didn't know if they were going to make any big moves, and they probably didn't know if they were going to make any big moves because some, like one of the guys that we're going to talk about very soon, Jason Zucker, probably had some other options that he was pondering, but in the end, they got Jason Zucker, and I think that one surprised a lot of people.
Yeah, let's talk about him next. I think, obviously one of the bigger surprises of the day, bigger in terms of the money as well. I believe it was $5.3 million for 1 year for Jason Zucker, who has had, some prolific seasons in his career. He's had a few injury issues in his time, but, this isn't the kind of guy they're signing today that they signed in the years past, where they were getting guys who kind of were looking for a career resurgence or, just needed to take on contracts. Like, this is a guy who brings more to the lineup than just, a locker room guy. He is a great locker room guy, according to, a lot of people Craig has spoken to, and you can get that sense from him when we talk to him today. But I'm curious what you guys think about this particular signing.
Well, I think you're looking at a guy that's a 5-time 20-goal scorer in this league. He did have some injury problems over the last few years. This last season, he scores 27 goals. He gets back to the game that you're familiar him playing. This is the guy that's going to drive the net hard. And we're going to talk about lines later and how I see him fitting into this lineup. But it actually makes me a little excited about some of these line combinations. He's the guy that you're going to like to watch in all arena. If he's going to go to the net hard, he's going to play extremely hard. And I think if he can stay healthy, he's another guy that there's no reason he can't get his game back to the 20-goal plateau again this year with the Arizona Coyotes.
And then he becomes one of those guys, that we were talking about yesterday, that you can flip at the deadline, right? That Jason Zucker, who's not going to be interested in him at the deadline, right?
Yep.
That's, a character guy. He can score. He gives you that sort of grit that you're talking about. He could be a very attractive option at the deadline to acquire yet more draft assets because the Coyotes don't have enough of those, obviously.
Yeah, and Craig, oh, sorry, Petey. As Craig and I were kind of texting about earlier today, if Nick Bjugstad fetched a 3rd-round pick, like it makes you think that maybe if Jason Zucker comes here and doesn't have injury issues and has a great season, as many people who come to this team tend to do, have amazing seasons, maybe they can get something as high as a 2nd round for him. So, and then if not, you get a great guy who's an addition to your lineup, both on the ice and off the ice.
Yeah, a lot of competition for the Shane Doan Good Guy Award on that roster next season. Wow.
But that's one of the things we talked about that Bill does. And when you look at building a team, he builds guys that are that quote unquote good guy. And I think that does help them. And then at the very top of the pyramid, you got head coach Andre Tournier, who is also a good guy. And I think you heard it from Nick Bjugstad. Playing for Bear got the best out of him, and he learned every day. So what is he going to do with Jason Zucker and Bjugstad and now these young guys with another year under their belt, the determination to win? And guess what? They're not talking about Connor Bedard right now. I mean, it's not part of the conversation in this locker room at all. I'm telling you. So it's a different feel coming into this year. But with that comes expectations. And now they're going to be, okay, well, we're telling you guys the losing is over. We're going to try to win. I still will have to go through other rosters and say, hey, don't get excited about the playoffs quite yet. I know people are going to say, hey, buddy, there's some really good teams in the Central Division. But this team I still believe this team is better if they can get consistent goaltending. I'm still like to see them get another defenseman as I look through the pairings there. I still think there's some holes there, and we might have to get filled by some guys in the AHL, but they do need there's still something missing in the back end. And you look at losing Gossip and Chikrin, there's still that guy that they're missing at the back end.
We'll see.
Not suspenseful at all. Well, Bjugstad, you're right. He did mention Bear. He also mentioned again and again kind of how much he enjoyed coming to the rink, how much he enjoyed this Coyotes coaching staff specifically. So it's really positive to hear. And I think there's so much narrative out there nationally from people who aren't Coyotes fans or media, like who would want to play for the Coyotes. But look at this. People want to be here, and it's not just about, it being good weather. It's the future of this team and the way things look. And when we asked Jason Zucker about why Arizona, he had this to say.
For me, it was a lot about want, honestly. They showed a lot of interest right away, and that's a good feeling for any player in this league, knowing that a team wants you, knowing that they want you a part of the organization. And, for me, the other side, a little bit selfishly, is I love the West Coast. Being a Vegas kid, I love the West Coast. I love the desert. And I watched the Coyotes a ton growing up because I was playing all throughout the West Coast, so I got to see them a lot. And selfishly, I've always loved the Kachina jerseys. Those things are unbelievable. So just from that side of it is great. But just again, I've just to answer your question fully, a lot of it had to do with just how bad they wanted me to be a part of the organization, and that's a good feeling to have.
So I think one of the takeaways for me, like you heard that, and I don't want to be cynical, but like anybody's going to say that, oh, they wanted me. I get it. I believe it a little more when it's coming from Jason Zucker, but I also feel like this is like a chance for him to maybe cash in on something bigger if he has another big season. We'll see how it plays out. Again, I think he could be a really, really interesting guy at the trade deadline, but he's going to add so much to this room. And like you said, Petey, if he stays healthy, he could add a lot to the ice as well. This is a signing that I did not see coming today. I'm a little surprised by this, and I mean, this again, when we talk about all the reasons that they might be wanting to take a step forward, some of it was timing, but again, some of it was pleasing the core, the guys that were wondering what the heck was going on after the Tempe vote failed. A signing like this, yeah, this is going to make Clayton Keller happy to see them add a player like this.
Yeah, this is what we were talking about with Nick Bjugstad a year ago, a guy that really gets an opportunity. He's going to play all the time. Zucker's going to play all the time. He's going to be the key guy when they're looking to provide some offense. He's jumping over the board. So I think he's going to get a big opportunity, and he has in the past in his other roles. But he's got 1 year left on his contract. He's a guy that's going to be. I mean, he's got a 1 year contract here that he's got to play. Like, he's got to perform if he wants to play again the following year. So I expect really good things here. But somebody brought up an interesting point in the chat that it's so nice to hear positive things from people and players going, I want to be there. I want to be on the West Coast. I want to be in the weather. Arizona's great. And I don't have to talk about all the negatives and all this and all. You know what? That's who you want to play here. If you want to be here, be here. And I think we talked about a player last year at length who said he didn't want to be here. And guess what? He's not here. So get him out of here. And I don't think the team took a step backwards at all when that player left. So I think it is so refreshing, so exciting to hear that positive energy coming into this room. And I'm excited to see these last two guys we spoke with play. Yeah,
absolutely. And when at the draft, literally just days ago, when we, talked to the prospects, who are you looking forward to meeting? They're all mentioning these young guys of the future, Clayton Keller, Logan Cooley. And that was something that Nick Bjugstad cited as well, just the young guys and the excitement of what that can bring. But Jason Zucker mentioned it too as a reason he's looking forward to playing in Arizona. And I believe we have that video as well.
I'm really excited. It's an unbelievable organization with a lot of great young talent. Everyone from Clayton Keller to Schmaltz to Michelli, great Brett Hayton, Cooley. I mean, all the way down the lineup, they've got some amazing talent. So I'm really looking forward to getting there, getting to know the guys, and now being the old guy on the team, I'm looking forward to hopefully helping bring a little bit of leadership to that side, and just excited to be a part of it.
Brett Hayton.
But it's funny you mentioned that. He said the leadership role. This is a guy's played the last 3 seasons in the Pittsburgh Penguin organization, and you're talking about Sidney Crosby, Melk, and he doesn't play that role there. He's just one of the other guys, and here he's going to be expected to bring some of that leadership that we saw out of Bjugstad last year. And I'm sorry for Wiley, he's pretty excited that
he's excited.
Bjugstad is coming back to
more excited than Winston.
Winston, Zucker's dog, Golden Doodle. So cute.
Yeah, we got to meet him today as well. Do you remember the quote from Bill Armstrong when I was asking him specifically, okay, what's your approach in free agency? We want to sign guys that will help us this season. We want to make deals that will help us next season, but won't hurt us in 3 years. All of these are short-term deals. These are guys that can add something both in and outside the room. But when you have those younger players that are ready to come up and take roster spots, they're not going to be blocked by anyone, and you're not going to have any money tied up to prevent you from making other moves. So that's exactly, he told us exactly what was going to happen, just like he did before the draft without getting any names. Expect the unexpected.
We need to listen more closely to what Bill has to say. We'll dive into the other signings here in a second. Joel said how to handle a positive Petey, get him a kilt lifter. Well, Petey was
close.
Stoked today when he woke up from his nap to the Bjugstad signing. And he sent this photo in Discord earlier of him in his backyard with a Wow Wheat beer with his Shady Rays on. This is a positive Petey if I've ever freaking seen one. And Petey, did you just crack open another
I did.
Wow?
I got another Wow. Yeah. It's time. I'm not going anywhere.
It's time. It's time. As soon as I should have brought one in the room for this, but I forgot. But as soon as the show ends, I'm going and grabbing a Wow, because I feel like, it's a positive day. It's exciting to have a quote unquote emergency podcast without it being negative. So everybody cheers your Four Peaks, and you can buy that Four Peaks wherever you buy your beer, or check out the A Street Pub. You can check them out on Instagram at Four Peaks Brew or at Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. Must be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks, and please drink responsibly. In that selfie, Petey was also rocking his Shady Rays. Petey looking good with those on. We all have them. Love them literally so much. The second we landed in Arizona yesterday, I got in the car. I had to put mine on. It's so bright here. But I love having them. I'm so excited. I have another pair on the way soon. And right now, there's a Independence Day sale. I mean, come on. Shady Rays Independence Day sale is live now. You can go to shadyrays.com and get up to 50% off single pairs of sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Go to shadyrays.com and use code PHNX for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. So make sure you check out Shady Rays.
Petey, was that a howling coyote behind you?
It surely was, Craig.
That's right, buddy.
Any significance there? There's a couple in my backyard. Big surprise.
When I looked at the I didn't look at the dark spot. I started looking at the light spot first, and I thought it was the Great Lakes. I saw Lake Michigan in there for a minute, buddy.
Yeah, boy, howdy.
You are a Minnesota guy, so
you are definitely seeing things. No,
we do have a super chat from our friend Altex, I believe. If we can pull that up, it says, can we get a boxing match between Bjugstad and Galchenyuk to determine who takes jersey number 17, mostly for my jersey's sake?
Yeah, no worries. Bjugstad is 17. Don't worry.
Thank you. Exactly. Thank you, though, for the tee up, because Alex Galchenyuk is on his way back to Arizona as well. Again, for what is this, the third time?
Third time.
Third time's the charm. I believe it's a 2-way contract for Galchenyuk, who's kind of been bouncing around the league. Don't know how much of a role he's going to play with this NHL roster, but happy for him because I know, again, someone who really, really likes being in Arizona.
I got a funny DM from Jeff DeGolier today saying the Yotes need to make a Galchenyuk a punch card. Maybe the 5th time with the team, you throw in a year on the contract for free.
I like the move. I like the move, and here's why. He's a guy, and I do believe he's going to spend some time down in Tucson. But he's also a guy that when you have injuries, and there are going to be injuries, and you need to fill a hole. Alex Galchenyuk can play in the middle. He can play on the wing. He can do a lot of different jobs. He can play on the top 6 if you need to, because he can skate well enough, and he can play on the bottom 6 if you need him. So he fills a lot of those roles. So I do think you'll probably see him start off down in Tucson, but I think there are opportunities for him to play here. He had a tough season last year, and I hope this is another season where he gets his feet back underneath him and gets back on the ground, because I really like this. I like this kid, and I think it's a good signing for the organization as a whole, because he has been around. So like, he does work hard when he's down in the minors, and he can help those kids develop down in American League down in Tucson.
Yes, absolutely. I think he could be a good influence down there, or at least help them win, right? I think that's part of what they want to do down there, is build a culture of winning. And Alex Galchenyuk could be a guy that could really help the Roadrunners. He still has a house in the Valley. He's not selling that house. This is basically home. He loves it here, so I'm sure he's thrilled that he's coming back in some capacity. I'm not sure if he's going to make that crazy commute that Steve Potvin used to make, but we'll see.
Crazy. Yeah, and another guy who loves it here in Arizona, he told Petey as much when they walked and talked last season, Troy Stecher, who just made this team exponentially more fashionable. I am so excited about Troy Stecher's return. I will never forget when we found out he got traded, literally like at the deadline on trade deadline day, and I screamed no, because I loved the fashion content, but not just that. Obviously brings some veteran leadership to the back end. Thoughts on Troy Stecher?
Yeah, go ahead. It's funny. It's funny because another guy that wants to be here, liked it here, and he does fit into this defensive model because he does skate well enough, but he can also, for a smaller guy, he defends well because he works so hard. He's a guy that in the defensive zone, he's tough to get around. He's got a good stick. He digs pucks out of the corner, and he's a pain in the ass. And I think that's something that this team desperately needs. I mean, we saw on the offensive side of the puck, let's face it. I mean, Stetcher's not here to provide the offense. He's here to be a steady guy, help you through the neutral zone, and help with his good stick in the defensive zone. But it's a guy that wants to be here, and Leah, I agree 1,000%. He's a guy that's very concerned with his drip, and he spends a lot of time at the tailor. So I can't wait to see what we get. Absolutely, we're going to do a return. Like, it'll be walking and talking Bardu. Like, I cannot wait.
But you should do it like he should try to dress you.
Oh, buddy.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Greater words have never been spoken. Yes, please.
Have him take you to the tailor, or take you to the suit shop. I love this idea.
Yes, I love it.
Oh my gosh. Count me in. Oh my!
You guys you'll be shopping on the discount racks.
Jacques Penet. That's JC Penney. In English.
I'll get a chance to talk to Troy a little bit later, so we'll be able to pass along some of his thoughts as well, including whether Anaheim was on the table as a possible destination. Probably not.
Best idea since the Feral People trilogy. If you know, you know.
You know.
Last signing of the day so far is a goaltender, as if the Coyotes didn't add enough goalies to their system last week. It's Matt Villalta. I believe I'm saying that correctly. Thoughts on this guy?
Well, I think the move here, and listen, we saw the Coyotes shore up their goaltending. I'm sorry, I'm texting something while I'm doing this. They shored up their goaltending at the draft by selecting 3 guys on day 2, including a really high prospect. So they're clearly putting more of an emphasis on this. But we had said this earlier. All 3 of us were talking about this on a previous show, how they were probably going to try and get more competition for Ivan Prosvetov in Tucson. And I think that's what this signing is all about. This is a 23-year-old kid who is 6'4". So when you look at the development curve of goaltenders, this guy has not reached his peak or his prime yet. There is time for development. He had a pretty good season with Ontario last year, so he's going to push Ivan. There's a chance, and I asked John Ferguson Jr. this question. He said he's going to push for the net. He's going to push to own the net, not just as a backup role. This is a guy who's in the mix to be the starting goaltender down in Tucson. So again, competition for Ivan Prosvetov that will maybe drive him to another level that they haven't seen yet from him.
Yeah, and I think as Craig mentioned, the big thing about this kid is the younger goalies that they just drafted aren't ready. I don't think Thornton's ready yet to jump into the American League. We expected to see him back in the Ontario League this year. So this pick to me, or this signing today, was huge. And we've talked about Craig predicted it. He said they needed somebody to push Prosvetov's spot. This kid's 6'3". His numbers in the American League, he played 22 games in the American League, but his numbers were great. He was at 2.65 goals against and a .910 save percentage. His numbers were solid. And at 6'4", he's a guy you do expect. They just want to win. I mean, they'll develop a goalie down there. It's at this point, it's Prosvetov or it's Villalta. I don't know if it really matters to this team because they just drafted 3 goalies that their anticipation are they're going to start pushing these guys too. So now you've got goalies, 2 goalies up in the National League they have confidence in, 2 goalies in the American League they have confidence in, and you've got at least 4, maybe 5 that are pushing from the underneath. So this is the first time ever since this team has lived in the Valley that you have this kind of cupboards filled with goaltenders ever.
Yeah.
Like the depth in goaltending is something they didn't have a week ago, and now they have goalies all over the place. So this is exciting from the goaltender perspective, as long as they develop and one of these guys hits. Yeah,
and I meant to mention this on the show. I'm not sure I cited him nearly enough, but they really rely a lot on their goaltending scout, Clay Adams, who does a terrific job down there. And I mean, when you look at them using 3 of their picks on goaltenders, clearly they have a lot of faith in this guy.
Yeah.
He works hard. He's all over the world. And now they've got what feels like completely stocked cupboards. The goaltending.
Yeah. I heard his name a lot too, Clay Adams, when we were at the draft this weekend. Do you think he may get out to a senior men's game that you and I play at each end and see if there's anything left for us, Craig? No.
You guys are on the IR for life.
Moving on.
Hey, I would take that.
Yeah, moving on.
I would take that.
Man.
Oh, by the way, my math was not off. It was 6 players because they re-signed Travis Barron as well down in the minor leagues.
You're right.
I forgot about that. So I was right about 6 today. Travis Barron will return to the Tucson Roadrunners.
Making Craig look bad on the Zoom call to the Coyotes PR staff.
Yeah.
But yes, that's another move. As Craig, I feel like this is. I can't remember the last time the Coyotes signed this many guys on day 1 of free agency.
I'd have to go back, but this was crazy. This was a flurry today. And again, they're still working.
Yeah. And Roaring Fork says it, become a diehard, join the Discord. Craig's dropping some stuff in there, but everyone know if anyone says it, we'll kick you out of this chat right now.
Yeah, there is a lot. We've entrusted our diehards with a lot of that. Like there was a lot of diehard stuff on the trip to Nashville too, and so it's like that. You know, the pinky swear. You gotta, if you want to be a diehard, you gotta zip your lips because you do hear, and you hear first.
Yep. So go if you're a diehard, go peek in there right now to Craig's most recent message for a little.
And if you're not, well, you just won't know.
You just won't know. You just won't know. We have to talk about Christian Fischer for a moment. That news obviously came out after our live show yesterday. I think a lot of what's happened today, and I think this feels to be the sentiment among many Coyotes fans, is it's kind of eased the sting of that one, which is that the Coyotes did not tender a qualifying offer to Christian Fischer, making him a UFA today. We've thrown around the term locker room guy a ton, the Shane Doan Good Guy Award, all of that. All of those things are things that we associate with Christian Fischer as well. And I know a lot of people, including us three, were very, very upset to get that news last night. Obviously, it doesn't prevent him from signing here if he wants to, just as a UFA. But as Craig tweeted earlier, probably not very likely.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. Fish has been through a lot here. He's been a good soldier. He's always been a great supporter of the organization. I know he's been looking for a deal with term, and I know that's what he's pursuing right now. And there are a lot of conversations around Christian Fischer right now. Hopefully I will be able to give you some information on day one, because I'm sure that's what Fish would like. You never like, as a player, you never like to just sit around for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, wondering if anything's going to happen. But I do think there's some interest in Christian Fischer.
Yeah, this one's hard for me. We talked about it last week. Everybody knows how I feel like Christian Fischer. I think he's an excellent person. I think he's great in the room. I think he prepares the right way. I still believe that the right fit for him was here in Arizona. But guess what? I just sit on the other side of a microphone. I'm not sitting in the room. So there's a lot of things that need to happen in order to make a deal come together. And that takes both sides to make that happen. It's not just the Coyotes. It's also the player and his agent. They need to find that common ground. And if they can't, they have to move on. So all I can say is I wish Christian the best of luck. And I hope he finds a landing spot where he gets an opportunity to play and play a lot, because I'd like to see him in the NHL working his ass off again next season.
When you look at the totality of that situation, now that you've seen some of the moves the Coyotes are making, and again, they're trying to make more, you understand. Sadly, it's a business. They were a little worried about arbitration and what it might afford Christian Fischer. They wanted to make other moves, as Bill has said a number of times. They wanted to move forward, but remember, this is not a team that's going to be anywhere close to the cap in terms of real dollars spent. Bill is on a very tight budget, so he has to think very carefully about every move he makes. I know the Coyotes still want to try to sign Christian Fischer. I don't see it happening at this point. I think he's gone. But like you, Petey, I wish him well, because he's just an unbelievable human being, one of my favorite guys that I've ever covered in this league, even though he loves ketchup, which is just unforgivable.
Yeah, but I anticipate, Craig, this, just like we always say, just because you've moved on to another team doesn't mean we're going to talk to him again. He's going to be on the show again. There's, so I'm not too worried. We'll get a chance to catch up with him, I'm sure, either this summer or in the fall.
Absolutely. We're going to, Petey, if you're watching on YouTube right now, you can see there's a whiteboard behind Petey with some lines on it. We're going to take a look at some potential lines. And this is obviously before, all the signings of the day are done and before anything's set, but it's always fun to do. So we'll do that in just a moment. But before Craig has to jump off to talk to Bill Armstrong in just a few minutes, I just kind of want both of you, but we'll start with Craig, overall thought on, I guess, just like what this means for the Coyotes going forward and the outlook, and just where we are in the rebuild.
Well, I just think it's exactly as Bill told us. They wanted to take a step forward this next season, and there were a couple of reasons. One, the timing is right to maybe move forward a step, but also some pressure from the core to say, hey, we need to see some progress here after the Tempe vote fell through. So those two things are at play here. I think the Coyotes have done just that. They've added some pieces that are going to help them take a step forward this next season without hamstringing them 3 years down the line. And again, as I keep saying, I know they're trying to do more. I'm not saying these other deals are going to come to fruition, but they're trying. They are trying out there right now.
Yeah, one of the things that Craig says, the most important for me is that they're signing guys that are actually going to help on the ice and not just help stock the cupboards for more draft picks or take on somebody else's bad money. These guys are actually going to help them on the ice. We saw it with Nick Bjugstad last year, his ability to help this team. And it was continually, you could count on Nick Bjugstad with a scoring chance in the first minute of every game at the Mullet Arena next night. I can't wait to see what Jason Zucker can do out there for this team in that small venue. But to the greater issue of Craig's point, you go to next year, the 24-25, they have 4 forwards signed for 24-4. And you know how many defensemen for 24-25? None. So amazing, this is not like, oh my God, you hear all these teams? You know how many teams you hear, oh my God, we got that guy for another 6 years, or we got that guy for another 4 years, or geez, I wish we could move that money. Guys don't have any of that. And they've got so many young, talented players coming up that they're developing, and they got so many draft picks, and they're going to have so much room on the cap, and they're hopefully going to get a new building. So all of these positive things that we've been talking about for the last 2 years, you can start to see this shaping up exactly the way they wanted this team to be. And the one guy that's contract that I personally said they were going to have a problem moving and they didn't want, and this contract sucks, was Clayton Keller. And I said that myself. And now Clayton Keller is on the verge of breaking the record for points in a season by a Coyote. And you're thinking, thank God we got him locked up for 1, 2, 3, 4 more seasons after this at $7 million. You're like, what a bargain. So the one guy you do have locked up is a guy that's not causing you problems. He's helping you. So all the pieces are starting to fall into place for this franchise to do exactly what they said they were going to do. And if you're not excited by that as a Coyote fan or someone that follows the Coyotes, you're just not paying attention. And for other teams that hate the Coyotes and are jumping in here because they're haters and want the team to move, again, you're not paying attention. This team is doing the right things. We sit there and watch other teams. You go, what was that move? I don't get that move. What is that team doing? You know exactly what this team is doing. You get it. And when you put it all down on paper, it follows a path, it follows a plan. And so that's exciting to watch this. And it's so great to be positive about the Arizona Coyotes for a complete show.
Yeah, I know. Positive Petey, like we said, don't know what to do. Love the suggestion from Charles. Will, quote, catch up with Fish somewhere down the road.
Wow.
Joel said training camp's going to be spicier than Nashville hot chicken. Everyone's crushing it with these things today. And then Steven a bit earlier said the segment with Troy Stecher can be called Stitched Up with Stecher.
Oh,
Steven, I mean,
people are going to push me out of a job here. There's too many creative people here. I don't like it. By the way, Leah, if you're always looking for a clip to that last rant, that was the clip. So I'm done for the day. I just did my work. That was the clip. Drop. I can go. Talking about haters and nuggets. I'm good.
All right. Well, we'll let Craig jump off to hop on with Bill Armstrong. And then PD, you and I will take a look at the lines, and anything that comes out of the Bill Armstrong availability, we'll make sure you know about it as well as do we have the breaking news?
Nope. I just want you to make sure that PD spellings are up to snuff. Make sure the spellings are.
They are correct here because I went literally with a black pen and doing it because there's no damn way I was retyping this shit. You know where you can put your umlauts, Craig? I got a really good idea. Every time I finished retyping this, people will see it in a minute. Every time I finished retyping the list, Craig would go, "There's another mistake. You need 2 dots over his A and 1 slash over his O and a circle over his E." I'm like, good God. You're not wrong. By the way, I'm going to give you one more. You know, what's the thing, the ASMR? Is there an ASMR for smells? I don't know what that would be, but we are having a homemade barbecue chicken pizza tonight.
Oh, buddy.
And what we do, but we make bacon. So we go to the butcher's counter and get real bacon. We don't go with the packet. We go get real bacon, the thick stuff.
It's Wiley's barking.
That is because Heidi just smelled it and I go, oh my God. So we make it ahead of time, cut it up and put it on the barbecue chicken pizza. Wiley is going bananas, and so am I, technically. So, all right. Had to get that in before you left, Craig.
Wait,
Craig, get all that
before
stuff.
Craig goes, show Joel's comment on the screen. Craig.
I should change it to that just to drive everyone crazy.
You should. Craig, get some good comments, but I'm not coming back on the air till Monday.
All right, buddy.
All right, bye, Craig. We'll see you in a bit.
See you guys.
And fix Twitter.
Yeah, seriously, call Elon. Listen, I know we've been really positive. We're not sitting here saying the Coyotes are Stanley Cup contenders next season, but I do find this interesting, Petey, because I pulled up my BetMGM app out of curiosity to see if any of today's signings moved the Coyotes' Stanley Cup future at all. And I don't know if this is just from today, but this is different from the last time I looked, and the Coyotes do not have the worst odds next season. They are plus.
Is that
15.
True?
Yep. They are currently plus 15,000, which is the same as the Canadians and the Flyers, and the Ducks and the Sharks share the worst odds with plus 25,000. So interesting stuff. Again, we're not saying that they're sniffing the playoffs at all, but it is a step in the right direction. I feel like that is the theme of the day, a step in the right direction. And if you just, I wouldn't put money on it though, but
yeah, but the BetMGM thing, I'm going to go hit that later because I like it, especially if the goalies get hot. And I will say, Joel was with us in Nashville. Joel's on fire in here, by the way. He said training camp's going to be spicier than Nashville hot chicken. And then you see his last one, and he's right. And this is one of the things where we talked about better this year than next year. He said Keller last season at this very point in time, Keller wasn't walking yet at this very point in time. So we weren't sitting, oh, Keller's going to be good. We didn't know if Keller would be in the lineup every night last year. And now you're looking at a guy that was the offensive star. He was an all-star. He was at the award show. Like, there's no question mark over what Clayton Keller can provide for this team. So again, when we talk about last year versus this year, even though the names of teams same, the situation has changed. So I do believe that there are going in the right direction. Again, temper thoughts. We're not planning the parade, but there's definitely things to be excited about. And for the first time in a while, Leah, there's something to be happy about.
Yeah.
And we can smile. And the buzz in the Discord today wasn't about, oh, should we move to Mesa, or you guys are moving to Houston, or have you read what they said in Portland? It wasn't that. It was, oh my gosh, they signed this guy. Did you see they signed this guy? You know how many teams aren't doing that today? A lot of them. A lot of teams walked away today doing nothing. And so the Coyotes, I got to give it again to Bill Armstrong. He just continues to surprise. And I'm so looking forward to going to the rink on Monday. I know these guys won't be there, the guys they signed today, but it's going to be such a positive vibe at the rink on Monday for development camp.
Yeah, for sure. I mentioned the Stanley Cup future lines. I'll be curious to see, or closer to the season, what the point total over under is for the Coyotes now, once the roster is more set. Those are really fun to bet on BetMGM, especially just because you put your money on it because it's the future, and then you forget about it. And then if you lose, you forgot about it. If you win, it's a surprise. So check it out, BetMGM, and make sure you log into the app every Friday because you receive a bonus bet just when you log in. Using a bonus bet on a future is a great use of a bonus bet, if I do say so myself. And if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use the bonus code PHNX. There's a few different offers depending on where you live, but for our Arizona audience, place your first bet offer and receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if your bet loses with BetMGM. Again, make sure you use the bonus code PHNX. You can check out the show notes for full details, and now you can listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Disclaimer, 21 plus to wager. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in Washington, D.C., Mississippi, Nevada, New York, and Ontario. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369, New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, Arizona. 1-800-522-4700, Kansas, Nevada. 1-800-327-5050, Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF, Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help, Michigan.
Petey, I know it's kind of been a crazy day with all these signings, but I have to say, after 5 straight days of go, I have felt very relaxed today. And that could partially be because I took an OG's last night before bed, just unwind after a chaotic week. And I got to say, this new pink lemonade flavor is something else. It's limited edition, so don't miss out on your chance to try it. And it's just fabulous. So go get your pink lemonade gummies while you can. You can check out OG's online at ogsbrands.com and on Instagram at ogsbrands. You can also find their products at your local dispensary, but you must be 21 years or older to purchase. All right, Petey, this is the portion where everybody remembers what we said and then sends it back to us in October to make fun of what we do here. But with that being said, this is all Petey, so I'm going to throw it over to you.
Yeah, so if we're going to get embarrassed, it's all my fault. So here's what happened. When you do these signings today, and we've talked about the guys they already have in the contract, and a couple of days ago, Lee, we were saying they have 10 guys on contract, and how are they going to fill a roster? When you start putting names down on paper, all of a sudden, those spots go away in a hurry, and you go, oh my goodness, this roster is filled out. So I started putting names down on paper today, and I put together a few lines, and I saw the lines in our Discord, and they're pretty darn close to what I came up with. And I still think there's some juggling to do on the back end with the defensemen. But let's take a look at the way the Arizona Coyotes look at this very minute in July. Is it July 1st? Oh my God.
It is.
July
Happy
1st.
Canada
So this
Day.
is actually the board behind me. So they're on Megan. So we have chance movement. We'll walk through it very quickly so people get a chance to take a look at this. But I started off with the top line of Keller, Hayton and Schmaltz. And the reason I put Hayton between these two, I know that Hayton juggled a lot up and down through the lineup, through the middle of the ice. But I thought when this line was together, I thought they played their best hockey. The second half of the year, up the middle of the ice, Hayton was very, very good. And I thought he brought a little element to this line that he allowed them to get to the blue paint. He gave them an opportunity to tip and screen pucks that allowed Keller and Schmaltz a little bit more room on the top of the zone. So I really like this line together. This is the line when they're healthy and they're strong. This is a threat to score every time they're on the ice. So I'd like to reunite this line. Are we in agreement with that, Leah?
Yeah.
See, that's the kind of unbiased support I like from Leah. Yeah, great. So the second line, this is the line I'm most excited about. And I put Nick Bjugstad back in the middle of the second line because I think when you're able to start him at the beginning of the game, he can defend and he can play on the offensive side of the puck. So at the start of the game, I really like this line. I put Zucker on his wing and I put Dylan Guenther on his wing because I think this is an opportunity for Dylan Guenther, who we anticipate to make this club now, get a young guy learning from two veteran players, two big veteran players, two big guys that can protect him. They can get him the puck. They're fast enough to keep up with them. They can get it offensively. I think they can compete. And I think they're smart enough defensively that if there are still some shortcomings to Gunther's name in the defensive zone, I think they can overcome those because they are so they're experienced guys and they can help him in the defensive zone. So I think this line, and you know what they'll also do? They're going to feed the kid the puck because they want to get points. So I like that as the second line. And then I'm going to come back with a third line that played a lot together last year. And that's Krause, McBain, and Michelli. And when they play together, if you follow that Bjugstad-Zucker line, and then next on the ice is McBain, Krause, Michelli, it's a very similar line. They got a little bit bigger bodies that drive the net hard. And then you've got a high-skilled guy that can distribute the puck in Michelli. So I think those two lines are interchangeable, but I really like that third line of Krause, McBain, and Michelli. And I think McBain's going to take another step forward this season. I think he was great last year offensively, but I think he takes another step forward. On the fourth line, I've got Liam O'Brien, Boyd, and Carcone. We talked about Michael Carcone signing the one-way contract. I think he's going to get an opportunity. This is a line that's going to work hard. They're going to be able to provide offense, and you better keep your head on a swivel when Liam O'Brien's on the ice because you know how he protects his teammates. I also threw in a couple guys on the fifth line. These are some guys to look for. I think Galchenyuk can fill spots up and down this roster, and I think Jan Unique is another guy that can fill holes up and down this lineup for this team. So as a forward group starting day one, if we had to start the season tomorrow, I think this is what I would throw on the ice for a lot of various reasons. I think this is a pretty deep four-line team right now, but I like the ability for Hayton, Keller, and Schmaltz to get the right minutes at Mullet Arena. Are we good so far, Leah?
Yeah, and I do think somebody in the chat way earlier had said they want to see Guenther on a line with Zucker. So I think you...
I virtually stole from me. I did absolutely no work. No, the truth is I actually typed, printed, and made magnets. So I didn't just steal that what was in the Discord, and he was right in the Discord, but it was Ogie. I'm pretty sure it was Ogie.
Yeah. Couple comments. Karen said, boy, howdy with that second line. Charles said that second line looks primed to do some damage. Ryan Travis said, man, I can't wait to see that third line out there. Look at all of us, like, excited to see
but it is
the
because
Coyotes on ice.
You want to see guys that you can go, oh, yeah, I see that. I see how they fit together. And once I started putting it on paper, I go, oh, my goodness. Like, as a coaching staff, you'd be excited putting those magnets on the board. You go, okay, because you can roll 1, 2, 3, and 4 doesn't hurt you. And that's what you want in a lineup. And I think once Carcone gets to play enough games, he'll be able to sneak up and down the lineup. Travis Boyd's been a number one center for this team before. So you know what he can do. And Liam O'Brien is a bowling ball that still gets to the net. So to me, this is a lineup that's veterans with young guys, and you're still quick enough to compete. I would be excited if I was a coach going into this, and that's my roster on game one up front.
Absolutely. So should we take a look at the defensive pairs next?
Yeah, let's do it. This was harder. This was harder because there's so many players that are similar at the back end. And we'll start off right away at the first pair. I put Valimaki and Durzi. Sean Durzi is going to be interesting offensively. I think he's going to be the guy that's going to carry the offense early for this team. People are going to really like Sean Durzi and what he can do from the offensive side of the puck. I'm not sure defensively. That's been his knock. He's going to have to develop the defensive side of his game. He's going to have to get better from the blue line in the defensive zone. But he skates well enough and he moves the puck well enough that he can get out of the zone quickly and provide offense. I think Valimaki what we saw from him at times, he was the best defenseman on this team. And I think Valimaki can provide that defending defenseman. Now, do I think Valimaki and Jersey are a 1-2 in the National Hockey League? Probably not. And that's the concern for this team on the back end right now. It's very, very young. And so this is an area I think that the Coyotes still need to improve. They've got some offensive upside there and some speed, but I don't think this is a top 6 that you would go that other offensive teams would be afraid of. I think they're good, but I think this is an area they still can improve. In the second pair, I put JJ Mosier, and you can interchange Valimaki and Mosier easily on that left side. And then I put Troy Stecher on the right. Stecher is a guy that's a right-handed guy, but he can play both sides. I think he will, that pair is right now a pair you needed to defend. I think that was a pair that can skate well enough, move well enough, and have good enough sticks that they could defend together in the defensive zone. They're going to have to take some time killing penalties as well. So you want that pair together back there. So I don't mind this pair. And then lastly, Josh Brown, I was a huge Josh Brown fan. I think he's hard in the corners. He defends well in front of the net. I really like that. And we're going to pair him with a young guy, whether that's Soderstrom, Kesselring, or Kolyachonok on that third pair. And I think that third pair guy might be interchangeable for a little bit, but I think that's a pair that you're going to have to monitor their ice time. Brown, again, he's going to be one of the first guys over the boards, killing penalties. He blocks shots, sacrifices his body. I really, really like Josh Brown, and I'm so glad I got an opportunity to tell him that. I think he's underappreciated. People don't notice him because he does those thankless jobs. So I've got him on the third pair. And then in the back end, it's Vejmelka and Ingram again, 1-2 or 1A, 1B. It depends on who's playing better at that time. It's great they've reunited that tandem because they've gone in stretches where they were both very, very good. I would still like to see a little improvement on the back end, but if this is your starting lineup for opening night, I think there's going to be some excitement for the Arizona Coyotes.
Well done, Petey. I like what you've done here. Let us know in the chat if you see any other pairings on defense. Definitely.
I like Nicholas. See, Nicholas said that too. And the Jersey one's interesting to me. He's the hard guy. Like he said he could be with Mosier or Brown. I agree. I don't think the back end I was as excited about. Okay, I love this pair. I love it. I didn't feel that when I was putting those 6 names down, there were a lot of things I could have interchanged. I loved the forward group. Like, I really feel strong that I don't think there's any holes up there that you could, I would put that team against anybody. Like I'd throw out the defensive players that I need to against some of the top speedier players in the league, and that they can defend against some of the top teams. Like you talk about McDavid or Matthews. Yeah, I think we've got that. And I also think we can score goals up front. I am concerned a little bit about the depth of defense and their ability to defend. I do like their foot speed and the ability to get the puck up the ice. I just worry about it from the red line back, trying to defend off the rush and in front of the net. So keep an eye on that for the next 82 games.
And Nick brings up a good point, though. What changes here if we go 11-7? We know how much Andre loves 11-7.
Yeah, the other thought on that is you can see who's playing well, who's not injured, because Carconi can play in the middle too. So I think you're going to see Carconi getting an opportunity to play, whether that's O'Brien sitting out into Carconi and Boyd, because Boyd also can play up the middle and gives you a lot of variability on that lines, and he can play up and down the lineup too. So if you do get a guy injured or a guy in the penalty box for extended period of time, Boyd and Carconi give you a lot more options up front. So if you do go 11-7, I would see that as the last pair to start. With O'Brien rotating in when you're playing a little heavier team, that you need to have that element in. But I do see that fourth line, you would have the guy rotating in and out if they do 11-7, and more than likely they will. But the key to that is they had so many holes last year that you needed to get Keller out there more often. I think they have more offensive weapons than they did a year ago, adding Zucker. So I think. I don't know if their plan will be 11-7. I know he likes to coach that way. So if they do, I think they have several options on the back end.
Yeah, absolutely. I just saw in the chat, here it comes. Per Craig, Christian Fischer is headed to the Detroit Red Wings on a 1-year deal.
There you go. I'm happy for him. He's playing for Jay Verity up there, the assistant coach that was down in Tucson. The Detroit Red Wings are another team that drafted well, and they're probably a year or two ahead of where the Coyotes are with their young developing players. He's going to get an opportunity to play there. They need a guy like that on their bottom 6 line, a guy that's going to dig the pucks out and get these young players the puck. I'm happy for him. He's back in the Midwest. He's closer to home. I think that's going to be a good spot for him. Great rink, by the way. It does snow there, though. So congrats for Christian Fischer.
Yeah, and as the Watt said, though, gets him closer to home. He is a Chicago guy, much like one Craig S. Morgan. So happy for him that he signed somewhere else. I think this one hurts Coyotes fans a ton. But wishing the best for him always. And as we've
Absolutely.
seen this free agency day, never say never to someone coming back, because it can freaking happen.
100%. I mean, and this isn't over yet. This is literally just the beginning. Like teams haven't made the moves that the Coyotes did today. So there's a lot more stuff going to happen over the upcoming days. And it's funny, Leah and I, we were in Vegas. Jesus. We were in
Vegas.
It literally felt like Vegas. We were in Nashville over the last 5 days, and we had an opportunity to spend time with the CHGO folks who were doing their show, and all they were talking about was Connor Bedard. They signed Taylor Hall. And like, ooh, look how good we're getting. Yeah, well, I said, well, you guys are definitely going to be better than us. I'm not so sure now. I like the makeup of this team right now, and I think that, who else did they sign? They sent another old guy in Chicago. Please, Chad, help me out. Besides Taylor Hall, there was one other player, Foligno, and then one more. There's a third. Corey Perry. That was the one I was trying to think of. So I said this team, Chicago is doing some good things and they're going to be better. I like this roster better. So for what it's worth, CHGO, when we get to that conversation, who's going to finish worse next year, it's not as clear cut as I thought. So we'll rethink that.
Yeah. Lots to talk about for us though, this summer. What?
One more thing can we talk about, because we did tease it a little bit. Are we going to talk about one more thing after you do more? Do you have more business to do?
Sure, but I was just going to give everyone a tip about Twitter since it's not really working. I just saw this. Yeah, you can go on someone's account and turn on notifications for the tweets. So they'll come like on your home, when you get a Twitter notification.
Yeah.
So if you turn on notifications for an account, you can,
like, I think, for PHNX _ Coyotes.
Yeah, I think it would come up, like you wouldn't have to open the Twitter app because it shows up like any other notification.
And then it's not
screen.
Counting as a read.
I believe I just saw that on Twitter. Buddy, so someone needs to try
600 views is literally nothing. Like that's when I'm done. I was done so early this morning I didn't understand what happened. And my day has sucked. Although that's why I took a nap, because I literally couldn't sit on my phone and do Twitter. So I hope when they say temporary, I truly hope that does mean temporary, because it really does affect the way we're able to communicate for the things that we're trying to do here. So
yeah, for sure.
By the way, Leah,
again, join the Discord. What's up?
Can I give you more work?
Sure.
That screenshot we just did with the lines with the background on it.
Yeah.
Can we tweet that out and ask other people for their opinion?
Yes.
Is that
and
a thing we can do?
We'll put it in the Discord as well, since that's been the Twitter of the day.
Okay, cool. Because I'd like to put it in the Discord so people can tell me I'm an idiot. I'm used to it there. I'm used to it there.
Stop it.
And then we'll talk about the captain after we do.
Yeah. One thing we can always depend on and will never let us down is Circle K, because Circle Ks are literally everywhere. If you need gas, if you need snacks, if you need a Polar Pop, Circle K it's there for you. So make sure you check out Circle K. Go in, get a Polar Pop, try their chips, the Circle K branded snacks. I'm telling you, phenomenal. So make sure you're not missing out on all this great stuff right now. You could text PHNX to 31310 to join their SMS subscriber club and get a buy one, get one free offer on 32-ounce Polar Pops. Head to circlek.com/store-locator to find Circle Ks near you. All right, Petey. It's all you.
Well, I'm just trying to decide if this is the time they finally name a captain. And I think it was. And it's funny because a year ago, I would have said, 2 years ago, we were saying it's got to be Jacob Chychrun. And we'll see how dumb I was then. So please don't take any advice I give out now, because that clearly was the wrong decision, because the guy didn't want to be here. You have to go to someone that wants to play here. I think Clayton Keller has taken so many steps over the last year in the locker room, on the ice, his ability. You see how he communicates with the media now. He's just matured as a player and a person. I think Clayton Keller puts the C on for the Arizona Coyotes, and I hope they make that decision before the beginning of the season. And
we have breaking news, but you can finish your sentence.
No, if it's breaking, do we get another player?
Yeah.
Well, that's more important than this.
Alex Kerfoot, 2 years, $3.5 million. So just throw away the whiteboard. Scrap the whiteboard. Good Lord, another winger added to the lineup.
Good God.
What do you think on this one?
5'11" center. Again, he's a guy that he's going to help this team. I like Alex Kerfoot. I think he's going to be a guy that looks good on this team. Boy, the amount of things that they did today, when I get off this show and get to talk to my friends around the league, right. Somebody called me right when the show was going live, and from another team and asked me, what do you think of all the stuff the Coyotes are doing? And I said, I'm going to go live in 30 seconds to talk about it. So Kerfoot's 28 years old. He got 32 points in 82 games last year with Toronto. He's got a limited role in Toronto that I think will improve to a bigger role here in Arizona. Now this pushes people down. And now, interestingly enough, for not having enough spots, they've got too many. And so this is where now guys are fighting for jobs. And now
This is fascinating.
You expect more out of these guys. He's a kid that went to Harvard, so he's a bright kid, right? Where's he from? He's from Vancouver, BC kid. His best seasons were in Colorado early in 17, 18, 19, 20. So I like it. I think it's a good fit. It's a two-way guy, and we'll see what he can do and how he fits into this roster. So now I get to throw literally everything away, and I get to start over. So who does that push down? Does that push McBain down?
Do they make a trade? Like,
not yet. That affords you the luxury now. Having more is better than having less. And I think
it's up to them to fight for the job.
So what you do is you go into training camp with this. And then that gives you the opportunity to do some things at training camp as teams are starting to find out what they have and what they don't have as the first few days of training camp go on. And the other thing we talked about, Leah, this team needs a lot of players at training camp because they're going to have so many players to evaluate over in Australia, and they got to make a few stops all over here too. So they need to have a lot of players. That doesn't mean all these guys are going to be here when the dust settles for October. So it's an interesting signing getting Alex Kerfoot too. I'm just absolutely stunned at where this team is a year from now. A week ago, not a year from now, a week ago.
Literally, Petey, we sat there yesterday on 2 hours of sleep, and like Craig had talked to Bill and said, like, we're not shopping in the Gucci and Prada aisles. And I'm not saying any of these players are Gucci and Prada, but I feel like we're just so conditioned to be familiar with the Coyotes signing guys we've never heard of or signing guys that had the prime of their careers already, that just to see, a 28-year-old guy who was on the Toronto Maple Leafs and is a name that a lot of people know, just like that Zucker, like, I don't know. I'm just really surprised. Like, I'm processing this along with you and everyone here in our chat right now.
It's a 2-year, $3.5 million average per year deal. It's another guy that he's looking to play a different role here than he did in Toronto. And you talk about the offensive players they have in Toronto and what they have on in the forward position in Toronto. He just didn't. It's not a guy you talk about. You don't go, oh my gosh, it's Matthews, it's Marner. And so now Kerfoot's going to come here. He's going to play a different role. And you know what? Maybe he's the guy that plays. Oh gosh, what happened? Maybe he's the guy that can play. Maybe he's the guy that can play at the top of the lineup. And maybe you see him with Keller and Schmaltz. I think this really adjusts what's going to happen through the middle of the ice. So I'm just surprised that this team was able to do this. But with Kerfoot at $3.5 million, if he comes in and has the season that I think he can have, and what he obviously thinks he can have, and what Bill thinks he can have, he's another guy that at $3.5 million, he's a guy that you can move his contract. And so if you do want to get more assets at the trade deadline, you're not locked in for 3, 4, 5 years. It's a 2-year deal. It just follows suit in everything that Bill's doing. And if you like him well enough, keep him for another year and help him develop those players, but you're not locked into him forever. It's a $3.5 million contract. It's a contract you can move. So again, it fits into everything they're doing. It's a very, very interesting day to be a Coyote fan.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut off your.
No, that's breaking news. That's what you do. Like you watch TSN, like you do. Oh, breaking news. And Buddy the Pigeons, we have to shut up. Like you're breaking news. Clayton Keller gets to see it's time. This team needs to have a leader, and I think it's Clayton Keller. The one thing you do too is you reward guys that help him, and the one thing this team has always done is they've been able to put alternate captains, 2 on home and 2 on the road, and I like that you do alternate those. So you give 4 guys the opportunity to do that, and I'll throw some names out. I think it's Krause. I do think Bjugstad falls into the leadership group with this team. I think Lawson. Oh, I said Krause, Bjugstad. Who else?
Zucker.
Maybe Barrett Hayton, Zucker. I think there's going to be a lot of guys that are that you could go, okay, they can get that other A. So I think you'll see that shuffle quite a bit, and you'll see the A going around a lot. But I think Krause and Bjugstad are the 2 that really jump out to me, along with Keller. So who knows? Maybe Barrett Hayton gets a little A2 on the road sometimes. But I think it's time to make Keller the captain of this team. I think he's the face of the franchise. I think on the ice he does his job, and now he's able to do that away from the ice too. So I think it's time to make him the captain of the Arizona Coyotes, and we'll see if something like that happens by the time they drop the puck in October.
Yep. Man, Petey, I mean, I feel like I don't even want to end the show because something else could break. But do you
And
have
I'd say just tune into Twitter and we'll fill everybody in. But good God, we can't even do that.
No, you need to tune into Discord instead. And again, this is my plug. If you're not a diehard and you want to get in the Discord, go phnx.com/diehard, become a diehard, get 20% off merchandise, 20% off events. Petey's rocking his Nashville shirt that only the people who went on our Nashville trip got. They are not for sale. They are exclusive for that trip only. You also get exclusive access to Craig's diehard only pieces and of course the Discord access. So become a diehard. You also get a shirt or hat when you sign up, and you get one every year you renew as well.
So not just once, every year.
Every year.
And if I tell you what, if our diehards could make ads for us like you do at the Circle K gas pump, we should probably have that because they would help sell this because they all believe in what we're doing and it's a lot of fun.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Well, obviously, this isn't the last time we're talking. We'll be live again Monday. I'm sure more stuff will happen this afternoon and possibly tomorrow as well. And we'll break that all down on Monday. But we couldn't kind of end this day without going live to talk because, we had to talk. I mean, look, we've gone over an hour. Imagine what we would have done on Monday.
Yeah, but you have to. And I think, Leah, the most important thing is, and we were all three of us were in the Discord today. The most important thing is, and that's what the Discord brings us, is the Coyote family just wants to talk about stuff. And there just is no other place to do what we do. There aren't a bunch of people that, if you want to get all the information, the true information, that's what Craig helps provide for us, the real reporting of it, and then we get to react to it and talk about it. It's just nice to be able to everybody get in a group and go, hey, did you see what happened? And it's really cool. I'm excited about what the Coyotes did today. I think it was a real step forward, this organization. I'm surprised. I didn't think this was going to be the year that they made these kind of moves. I was thinking that was a year out. So I'm pleasantly surprised that this is the direction. I'm already starting to get excited for some of our post-game shows that we're going in with a different attitude now on game one than we did at game one last year. When last year, all we talked about was Connor Bedard. This year is more how are we developing the guys we've already drafted and then we have in our system. So it's a much different outlook for Coyotes fans. I think it's something to be excited about. I think Coyotes fans can start to be proud of being a Coyote fan instead of being the joke and butt of the league. I think this is the direction that they needed to see as a fan base. Now, the last piece of that, got to find a rink. And once they find an arena, we can put all this behind us and start moving forward. So it's a really good day, I think, for the Coyotes. They did a great job in the first day of free agency.
Yep. And I'll say this, I believe I said this in Discord this morning as well. I mean, we heard from Zucker, we heard from Bjugstad what they're excited about in the on-ice capacity. Both of them mentioned living in Arizona as a huge reason. It's an advantage that Arizona has that markets like, sorry to say, Winnipeg and Edmonton just don't have. And once the arena is in place and they have their state-of-the-art facility with the weather, with the exciting prospects on the ice and the future bright in that capacity, I mean, there's no saying what this will be like. And for everybody who's here at 4:23 p.m. on July 1st, 2023, I can't wait to see you in 5 years down the road in our YouTube chat when we're hopefully talking about a deep playoff run by the Arizona Coyotes. So it's exciting. It's fun to be excited about something as well. And that's it for us today. Follow along, especially with Craig at Craig S. Morgan. Hit his little notifications so you can get his Twitter alerts. You can follow us on Twitter at SPetersHockey, at Leah Merrill, and at Sean_DePaz. And follow the show at PHNX_Coyotes. We'll have a ton of stuff there as well. Every signing, anything, it will be there. And be sure to subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel so you never miss a live show like this that comes unscheduled on a Saturday, as well as our live shows next week where we will continue to dive deeper into this. And we will also be out at development camp next week. We'll be there Monday and Tuesday are open to the public. So if you're there, come say hi. But really looking forward to that as well. It's a busy time, but an exciting time.
Yeah, it was great. Monday, Tuesday, the 4th of July already?
It is the 4th of July.
Good grief. And
we don't have a show that day, but we're
still working on trying to come up with something for Wednesday or Thursday live from the ice den. We're still working out some details, so I can't promise it quite yet, but there's so much going on next week. And I love when these development camp kids come to town, and there's so much fun things to talk about. And all the guys we met over the last week in Nashville, we get to see on the ice this week. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really, really looking forward to getting the ice den. If anybody's there and has Monday afternoon off, definitely stop stop by. And if you see us, say hi, because if, as the diehards know, me in Nashville, if you stop me and say hi, I'll sit and talk hockey. It's a thing. I do enjoy it. So say hi if you see us, and look forward to seeing people on Monday.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, everybody. Be sure to hit the like button before you leave here today. And if you're listening on audio, be sure to like and subscribe. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we will see you all on Monday.